What do you do when you go on social media? Kind of content that you talk about, the kind of content that you listen to, you watch, that keeps you happy and all of that. So, like for me, for instance, I just gave birth. You can hear my baby in the background. I just gave birth, and I noticed that when I listen to one um, pregnancy content or watch it or podcast, my feed, my algorithm starts showing me more and more and more. So it is vital that we use that as a signal to be able to create what we watch, what we listen to, and also aside that too, who do you have in your corner? Who are the people that you allow to come meet you, to come talk to you, to come to your house? It has a whole lot to play with our society, especially with the kids that we're raising right now. Because I tell you, guys, a lot is happening right there. My sister will tell me, go and touch grass. Go and touch grass because there's a whole lot happening right there. But despite it all, someone argued with me on this and said, oh, yes, in as much as we try to create our environment, you're trying to create it positively like me. I try to be as positive as possible in everything that I do. Because, yeah, there's a whole lot of bad happening in society. But you want to let that affect you? I'm not saying that we're not being empathetic enough, but if not for anything, for the sake of our mindsets. Because when I was pregnant, there are things I could watch, there are things I could not watch. I became super hypersensitive to a lot of things that are happening around me. For instance, I was watching How to Get Away with Mother. It's a series I started years ago. I was, stop and start. But, when I got pregnant, I couldn't watch it because the scenes in there that were so hypersensitive. I was reacting. I was able to see, you know, a lot of things. I became hypersensitive and I stopped watching it. Stop watching it. I rather wanted to thread into the more positive aspect because obviously you've been pregnant, you know someone who's pregnant, you know how our hormones tend to react, how we tend to react to certain things. You understand? And think too because being pregnant is a life or death situation. Being pregnant, you're creating another life inside of you. You're thinking, oh, how am I going to give birth to this baby? Is it going to work out? Sometimes you even hear stories of other people who didn't make it. That might affect you. You understand? But because of that, I had to stop. I had to learn to create my environment, make sure I think positive. And my birth story, especially for my second, wasn't, you know, I would say it didn't really go as I planned it. But, in all, I tried as much as possible to think positively, to react positively, to make sure that everyone around me during that period were positively minded people. Everyone around me. And I don't have a big circle, I have a small circle. So let's go back to your business, what you do online, how you do it online. Sometimes you might be having, days or weeks where you go maybe without sales or without much and you don't even meet your goals. You have to be able to try to create your feed or try to create an environment to a point where you meet people who are actually making it, meet people who are meeting the targets that you want or even higher than you and higher than yours. And learn from them and maybe get one or two tips from them. Or if not, maybe create your feed to be more of people who are successful in business and gain one or two tips for them. Like I, for instance, when it comes to financial planning, financial literacy, I try to create as my feed to the point where I can get one or two tips, whether it's a funny content, that one or two things that you can get from there. It is super important in every aspect of our lives because it not just affects us only, but it affects people around them. It affects if you have kids, it affects your kids as well. So it's important for your mindset, for you as a human being, so that you end up living a good life. Life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to be enjoyed. For me right now, look at the way I'm looking. You can actually tell that I'm a mom. But despite the stress, I try as much as possible to talk positively. That's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm making this content. I try as much as possible to talk positively, to think positively. I'm not looking at it right now, but I'm doing my best because the mind, the brain is a powerful tool. It is a powerful tool. I would have said, oh, I allow depression to get to me, I allow this to get to me, but I try as much as possible not to. I might be looking like what I'm going through, but I try to react and act in a much more positive way. For myself, most important, for myself, because I know who I am. I know what can get to me and what can't get to me. So do the same for you this morning. Do the same for you this afternoon. Do the same for you this evening. Try as much as possible to creatively think positively to make sure that you've made up your mind to do a certain thing. Create your feed to reflect that. It should reflect that as much as possible. You've made up your mind to achieve a certain set of goals within a year or within months. Make sure that in as much as you plan for it, act towards it, go towards it. Your feed, your environment should reflect that positively so that you can, as much as possible, achieve that and beyond. Hope this helps you or help someone out there. If you love this, if you like this, please like. You can react. You can leave a review. The review. You can subscribe as much as possible. You can leave your comments. You can ask questions. I'm always here, ready to answer. So until another time, this is me speaking from my heart. And if you're looking towards working with me, then I'm good at active to work. Take care.